Hello there, how you doing everyone? My name is Eric and I am the founder of In Your Hand Media. We wanted to do a quick 60-day check-in on our social media strategy that us as a group has been trying just for experimental purposes, and to also report back to you what happens if someone actually commits to doing a volume of social media over an extended period of time. So, that being said, what is In Your Hand Media? We are a full-service marketing partner who does stuff around paid per click. We do web builds, of course we do search engine optimization, and of course we're very much versing ourselves up with all the different types of artificial intelligence out there, whether it be AI agents that help you to do those functions, or whether it be stuff like copywriting assistance that could be through Gemini or ChatGPT. We're leveraging those things to do this output that you are witnessing currently out at our channels. So that being said, let's dive into a little bit about what we've been up to and what we're seeing. So what exactly have we been up to? As I've been consuming a lot of the literature and stuff to try to find and learn more about social media, what we come to find is that they say frequency matters. So in order for us to test that, we decided to figure out a way to put 4 pieces of content out into the market every single day on 3 channels. We have TikTok, Reels, and Shorts. Something about the strategy is that we are trying to be completely hands-off. So we know that if we had a person inside of those accounts, working those accounts at a high level, reaching out to other accounts and following and sharing and engaging, we would be much further along than we are. The reason we haven't done it is because we are looking to find a way that is completely hands-off that still has effectiveness with this type of a strategy. And that's yet to be seen, actually. We've been doing this for 60 days. And this video is going to kind of talk through what we've been seeing as we've stayed consistent along with the strategy. So what is the strategy exactly? Early on, about roughly early summer, I started to get an idea around what if we were to film stories, if we were to film some kind of content that could be funny, but yet ties into what we do and has a length of time, whether it would be 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, it doesn't matter, whatever it takes to tell the story. Then, instead of trying to put that whole story into all those places, which they require 60 seconds or less for the discoverability side of the house, figured why don't we tease a little bit of the video pointing back to the long form with an easy to understand call to action. What is that exactly? It's just basically our domain, which is inyourhandmedia.com / an easy to remember word. Why did we do that? Well, we haven't worked our accounts like others. We've focused on servicing other clients and building other businesses over these last couple of years. We haven't focused much on ourselves. So with that being said, we're starting at ground zero, and we did not have enough subscribers to do clickable links like you can do within Shorts and those types of things. So we had to have a way to lift them out of the content. And I'm very versed in redirects, and something like inyourhandmedia.com / wow, meaning Wizards of West Virginia, was a very easy thing to remember. Everyone can remember the acronym WOW, right? They could put that out into the internet, and then it could redirect to the long form video so they could consume the whole entire piece of content. So that really was our strategy overall, was to film a bunch of stories, create teasers, to then point back to the long form. And then within that long form, that's where we have our more hardcore call to action, which is please sign up for our newsletter at this moment so we can get your email and continue to serve you up information that might be helpful and generate that emotional equity and build some relationship between us and a cold prospect. Okay, so there is the strategy in a nutshell, and let me recap once again. It is 3 channels: TikTok, Reels, and Shorts. Okay, we are doing 4 posts a day, each 60 seconds or less. These are teasers going over to the long form. We did some wacky disruptive content, just experimenting, trying to tie it into what we do as services, knowing that we're not expecting anything but just trying to create some fun content that can maybe find new people out in the wild. So that's pretty much the strategy we've been doing. So let's go ahead and dive into the next part of what we're looking at here with this video. First, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're seeing in TikTok. So once again, folks, we've been going pretty much 60 days straight at this point. As you can see, it is the 22nd of October. We started on August 22nd, and we're doing 4 a day. So this was yesterday's 4, this was the previous 4, this was the day before that. And we have about like 8 or 9 stories right now that we're kind of rotating in succession. And as you can see, like we're a little bit all over the place with the algorithm right now. When we ended our 30-day, basically we were starting to get deep into the 6s and 7s, but then the algorithm shifted and we got into some more suppression again, down into the 100s and the 2s, right on the back end of that. So if I scroll down, you can see this is where we were starting to achieve some ascension into the 700s. And then there was an algorithm shift and we went back into a little bit of the 2s, some little puddle jumps to the 7s, and then a couple 6s here, but it's been kind of erratic since that. It seems like it did go down for a little bit, into the 2s and 1s, but then we got a couple random 6s and I think 1 7 recently and another 400. It's like, this is relatively new. As you can see, we're at the top and we're starting to come back up again into the 4s and 6s. So within TikTok, just looking at the feed itself, the highest we've gotten is into the 7s. We sustained that for a few days and then it kind of, something happened with the algorithm, took us back down into like the 1s and the 200s. And then, we didn't stop. We keep doing it, keep posting the 4. And now we're starting to get some back up into the 7s and the 4s and the 6s, but then we're getting 3 for 1. And then so it's like, it's all over the place a little bit right now. So as far as the consistency is concerned, it's not looking like we're getting consistent views, but we are getting some that are of multi-hundreds, right? Up into the 7s, 6s, and 4s. And as soon as, as just 3 days ago, right? So we're 60 days in. This content here is falling in 3 days ago right here. So for whatever reason, we started to get more visibility with that. Let's go ahead and take a look into the business suite side of the house, right? This is where you can start to look into some of the analytics as a whole. So our followers have been kind of starting to go up, but looking at some of the quality of the followers, I do see some stuff that seems a little, malicious, right? So with that, there's a couple of those, but others seem, actually credible. But I just wanted to mention that. But as we can see, this is just showing us analytics for the last 7 days. If I wanted to kind of get an understanding of what my 30 days look like, we can see our new followers is 13, plus 85%, new likes plus 73, profile visits. We have had 109 new profile visits in the last 30 days. So that's 109 new visits that people we don't really know but are starting to consume. And then we go into the 90 days, which covers our full 60, and we can see that we've had 20 new followers. So, it has done something in that regard. Our likes are up naturally. I mean, everything is going to be up when you go from 0 to not doing 4 posts a day to starting to do that consistently. So of course all the data is going to look really good for some time until we get a good calendar year to kind of come around. But 176 profile visits in the last 60 days, video views 58,000. So once again, these are shorts and teasers, but it's a decent number for 60 days, especially when we're just doing disruptive experimental type social media, right? And we're just trying to, bring some brand awareness, get people interested in who is In Your Hand Media, what do we do? And these guys have a personality, right? That's what we're trying to say as a brand. We want to make sure that we're not a dull, boring, brand. So, one thing we can look into too is the analytics overview. And this gives us just kind of in the last 7 days, we've had 6,665 views, is up 27%, so that's pretty good stat to look at. Audience reached 3,115 and 16 profile views in the last 7 days. Okay, so these are new folks discovering who we are. This is the last 20 days. We can kind of see, what we were showing you in regards to video views. This is giving you it as a whole, right? So you're kind of seeing the whole day and all the views that it had. And we can go all the way back to kind of see the full 60 days, right? And this is where we started. And you can see how, as we started the post, we weren't really getting a lot of anything really, just like normal stuff. But then we had a few pops from the algorithm, and then we wrote some nice stuff in the middle of or towards the late September. And then the algorithm changed, and now it seems like we're starting to go up again a little bit in some degree here, right? We're riding this wave again. So that's, just giving you an understanding of like the trends. It seems like we're starting to possibly trend back up, but we have had a time of suppression overall, right? And just taking a minute to speak to the content. We are just people just like you, and some of our video content has been a little slow to kind of come out of production. And with that, we've been recycling a lot of the same stories. So, with that being said, I am curious, and we are curious as a company to figure out, how much that affects, overall discoverability for new prospects, new people finding us, right? And even if we're, kind of tired of the content ourselves, or we're seeing a few followers dropping off, which, then as someone who's running social media, feel like, oh, we're not doing, we're doing something wrong. But just understand that's part of the churn, and also understanding that they're not seeing every piece of content that we're putting out there. I've heard do a frequency up to 8 to 12 pieces a day. We're doing 4 right now, just to kind of see what that would do. But having said that, the reason I'm bringing all this up is I feel, as if, the content, if we don't have new stories coming in, it could get a little stale. And I'm wondering, in the life cycle of the internet and social media, if repurposing content over a 60-day, 90-day period is a viable thing that could still produce results and find new people and find new engagement. So that being said, we're kind of still on that path, but we are poised to start trying to make some changes. And there's some data that shows us why we should try some new things. Overall, we just know we need new content and we need new signals to be putting out there instead of the same signals that keep happening, every day, just recycling stories. Okay, so, really quick, I don't want to spend too much more time on this because we have a couple things to go through, but 7 days, new followers, 6, 28, 11, 60 days, 20 new followers. So it's doing something in the first 60 days. Seems like we're skewing higher towards males than females. United States is definitely our biggest player. We can see all the different top cities, the age groups, and so forth. That's on the audience. If we want to get into the videos, let me just look at the last 60 days, and let's just do by most viewed. And we can see 753, so the Skibidi DJI-2, of course, that's, we're leveraging trends to try to see if we can do some kind of fun, creative content that ties in both stuff that we're working on and what we do into a current trend. So that was something we tried, and look, as you can see, it has garnered the highest video views out of TikTok. So that has worked, and something we might want to continue to flush out if we feel that it's worth doing so. We can then get into Carter being the second. We have the gnome story being the third. Once again, we got Skibidi DJI coming in again. This is all TikTok, just showing us our top most viewed. You can also sort by the newest overall, just showing you where your stuff is at now. We can see our trends. We're in those 2s, right? With an occasional like 636, 408, 704, 485, which is interesting. That wasn't that long ago. So I'm curious to see if the trend continues and we continue to ascend or not. But let's move on from TikTok into Instagram. So with Instagram, one thing we've done just for fun is never have the same thumb. I know that's not the strategy. The strategy of a thumb is working. You should just continue to use it and try to figure out other ways to leverage it. But we have 60 days now of all different types of thumbs to kind of see the commonalities between whether it's story or whether it's the way that the thumb was presented or whatever, to see what would resonate the most. So within Instagram, in order to kind of get down to some of the data to figure out like what kind of results you're seeing there, you're going to want to move into the business side of Facebook, and you're going to want to be leveraging the Instagram side of that. And in there, we can look at the overview. You can see we're looking at our performance. This is going from July to August. So this is kind of like the overview in general. But actually, if I see up here, the date range is September to this. So sorry, that's not correct. But with that being said, this is roughly covering our 60 days. So we can see within Instagram, we reached 7,300 accounts, up 198%, 198%. Once again, going from 0, everything's going to be super high, right? We want to see over time what the trends truly are as we kind of find our baseline. Content interactions up 380%, 346. Follower lifetime. So, within Instagram, I saw we've dropped like 3 followers. We're at 373. Once again, if you were following all this time and it's been dormant, and all of a sudden we start pounding you with stories over and over again, and it becomes too much for you, I suppose, or if you're seeing them and you don't like it, it makes a lot of sense to drop off. But With that being said, we're not stopping because we are continuing to get a lot of reach and a lot of content interaction, and we are finding new people that are discovering us. So within the overview, you can also jump down a little further and look at overall reach, visits, follows. We can see how, for Instagram Reels, they're not, the same things over and over again. This is why I think we need new content, just starting to, show that we're dropping off a little bit on the followers because of the content. In my opinion, we can continue to dive deeper into that to make that a true data connection. But overall, we can see that Reels has lost a little bit of followers. We can also get into the top countries, the age and gender. It looks like the potential audience thing is not working. And we can also set up some benchmarking if we want to, which we might do eventually, but we need to have a little bit more data and a little bit more time. Yeah, and we can also see that we're lower than others, which makes a lot of sense. We are just starting. We are barely 60 days in, and that's not even a quarter yet in the life cycle of a business. So, and yeah, with that being said, this is a little bit of insight into what is happening on Instagram. Just to kind of recap, we have lost a few followers. We do need to change up our content, in my opinion, or add some new stuff in to make it a little more fresh, but this is a part of the journey. Let's go ahead and move into YouTube. So moving over into YouTube, what we have here is July 24th to October 21st, so the last 90-day view. We've had plus 24 subscribers, so it's done us well within subscribers, which we're really appreciative of. Our watch time is 71 hours. Our views are 16,000. So, but one thing about shorts in general is, doing a little research as we've crossed over the 30 days, there's this thing called Explore and Exploit or something to that effect, where basically what YouTube is doing is it's giving you those 30 days to kind of find your audience. And if you don't truly find your audience, then your content drops. And I feel like that's where we're on the other side now, because we haven't introduced a lot of newer stuff in the last 3 weeks. So with that being said, we can see it kind of affecting our shorts in general. They just are down and abysmal, right? So we have been kind of suppressed at this point with occasional pops of life, like a view here and there, right? So, for whatever reason, shorts has come out of that phase of trying to find the audience. And since we haven't shifted much in the way that we're positioning our content, we're kind of now having a little bit of suppression going on, which for us is a direct, a definitive signal that we have to try something new in shorts if we want to have some effectiveness, right? So yeah, shorts is not doing as good as we'd like, but overall we have reached a lot of accounts overall, but now we have to do something to get it to start to pop again, right? And with that being said, I want to kind of conclude our overall 60-day check-in with, what happened to the long-form content that we're driving into, right? If we go back into videos, we can see here that we have the 30-day check-in. So that is a newer video, and that's got 31 views. Now, once again, the 16:9 videos of substance of long length, 16 minutes or longer, it's difficult to get views, right? But 31 I'm very happy with. Happy that we've had 31 folks at least consume it enough to give it a shot, right? And that's all I could ask. That means they were lifted out of our short form content to go and watch. Skibidi DGI 2, a little slapstick, much shorter thing. I've only had 9 views on that. This here is the 9:16 version, but the Carter, the longest, the 29-minute one, has 71 views. There's a lot of buzz too with some of his, having people that know him, so that helps boost that number up some, but still it's our most viewed video out of all of our stories at the moment. And let's go back to some of the older ones. So Wizards, not many people have made it into Wizards out of the lift. The explainer video, 6. Avocado, we've had 12 people consume the 2 minutes. And then this is what I think they're doing, which is the main one here is about 13. Then we go back to Eric Needs Help, 4-3. So as you can see, a lot of folks are staying in shorts, but there are some that come over and watch the full. And then we've had a couple newsletter pickups, but not many, just a couple. It's a very hard ask to try to get them to sign up, especially going from teaser to watch the full to then deciding I like this brand, deciding let me get on their newsletter and learn more. But we're going to keep on trying, right? We're going to keep on pushing, and we might play with our landing pages where we're driving them to here in the future. So stay tuned for that. But overall, I think that kind of concludes this particular 60-day check-in. I do want to have a little bit of commentary around the psychological side of all of this. I'm a human being just like everyone else, right? And I'm very involved, and my heart is in trying to figure this stuff out at a higher level for those that are around us. And when you're putting out this content, and at times you'll get dislikes, you'll get unfollows, you'll get account suppression, and you get kind of discouraged, right? I think we all kind of can feel this way unless we're paying someone and we're not looking at it and we're just hoping it's going out automatically. But if you're invested emotionally in what you're doing with your own social and your content, these things happen. Dislikes happen, unfollows happen, account suppression happens. I think the key is, as I continue to study and learn and also be inspired by other creators out there, is that the key is to not stop. And the key is to keep also challenging yourself to create better content. And what we've done so far is interesting and fun, but even myself, I have to be honest, I get a little bored of it. But I have to also be mindful of the fact that that person that has discovered me today, that never knew of me through a hashtag, through whatever, and then started to watch these stories, it might be story 1 of 9 and they've never consumed, and they might like what they're seeing or think it's funny or want to consume more. So having said that, I always rest on that, understanding that this is about discoverability. I am doing this to figure out if it can be done with minimal human intervention. So this is using schedulers, not in the native app at the moment. We might add that on in future months because I want to see, and I want to test that side of the house. But I wanted to test this first, and you can't do that until you do this, if you know what I'm saying. But my point is being that don't be discouraged. I too go through it. I too feel like, why am I continuing to do this? But when I stop and I check in, I see that there's been a lot of growth and movement within my brand, and more people are aware of In Your Hand Media than they ever have before. And I think that's all we're really looking for with social media, is to get that brand awareness. And then, if we're sharp, we then create great funnels and experiences for people that consume our content to drop down into, potentially buy a product or service from us or partner with us in one way or another. So having said that, don't give up. The psychological component is real. It happens to all of us. And I don't know, all I can hope is that you continue on and you continue to try to output what you're passionate about, so that you can help others in your communities and create great social media content. Thanks a lot, guys. Stay tuned to the next 90-day video check-in.